Yo, I'm going to show you my three most prized possessions, and you're going to use that to figure out my type. The first one is this Elsa lip balm. Why would that be one of my most prized possessions, you ask? Well, I used to work in a grocery store, just a clerk, and I worked my ass off every night. Hardest worker in the store, no question. Uh, but on New Year's Eve, it was just a couple of dudes making beer runs, and that was it. And I decided I was gonna chill. And so I was upstairs, still working, but kind of slow. I was kind of chit-chatting with some coworkers while going through return products, So, let's say someone had returned these chips, and I'd like kind of look at them and be, corn, vegetable oil. It's like looking at the packaging, just kind of poking around, being slow, just not really caring. And someone had returned this Elsa lip balm. Thank God for that person. And Elsa lip balm, there's Elsa everything. So why is this so significant, right? Why isn't it an Elsa backpack or some Elsa crayons that is my most prized possession? Well, reading on the packaging, it says here, bring the game to life with these stackable, collectible lip balm pots in yummy special edition flavors. Yummy special edition flavors. So I'm like, oh, what flavor is this Elsa? And hopefully the video focuses well enough that you can see. But she is Icy Snow Queen flavor. Sorry, you couldn't get the good shot on that, but Icy Snow Queen flavor. And I was just enraptured by this concept that, number one, that the marketing team approved the name Icy Snow Queen flavor, and of course the implication that they made a lip balm that tastes like Elsa. And I bought it immediately. And all my friends and coworkers know about it, to the point where, like, last Christmas, my friend bought me a Stitch one to go with her. And I intend to open her one day and find out what Elsa tastes like, but I'm waiting for a special occasion. Don't know what that is yet. Guys, item number one. Just realized that all three of my most prized possessions have to do with blonde women. You already saw the second one, which is this piece of art behind me. Her name, the title of the work is Zombie Girl. And the text reads, "Should I love him or eat him? I just don't know." Now that shit resonated, right? It was the first art piece I ever bought. I just went to like a Halloween art show on my own on a day that I was bored, and picked her up for $35 when I'm rich. In that universe, right? I want to patronize artists who have like cool and original ideas, and that was my first expression of doing that. I just really vibed with her. I have a habit of being consumed by women. My Enneagram type is a sexual 5. That's kind of our thing, is that we find like this one person that we want to like be completely open with, this like absolute vulnerability with this one human, and it kind of feels like consumption sometimes, right? Like it feels dangerous and risky, and she kind of embodied a lot of my relationships with women. And then, speaking of relationships with women, we've got my third thing, which is this about quarter-filled notebook. The only one I ever was in love with. Of course, needed a notebook so she could teach me how to use a Ouija board on like our second or third date. And I grabbed this notebook, and from that point forward, whenever we needed to write something down for anything, I would use this. And so I'll kind of go through this. We have the Ouija board. I'm pretty clever, So she was one of those women who were really into like serial killers, right? Like Hannibal Lecter, who was like her biggest crush. And I thought it'd be fun. We watched Saw, and she just fucking loves that movie. And I thought it'd be fun for us together to invent our own serial killer. And so we went to a sandwich shop. This was like date 4. We went to a sandwich shop and invented the serial killer named Anubis. And his thing was he would kill people who he thought should have died already. So like cancer survivors and people who like survived like 9/11. Like he killed like a 9/11 survivor. And he had like some backstory. I don't remember what happened to him in his childhood. I think he almost died. No, he accidentally killed his half sister, and it was ruled an accident. And he felt like he should have died by the death penalty because he felt so guilty about it. And so he kind of like, this is like just very corny, just like brainstorming in like 2 hours. And then we went to an art supply store, and bought supplies to make a model of a crime scene that he committed. And we didn't finish the diorama. It would have taken like 80 hours, but it was a really fun date night. We had a blast. She like taught me like some spiritual practices, and I was confused about it, so I kind of sent her a joke making fun of it. We played a role-playing game, kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, but we were super high, so I don't really remember what happened. We considered starting a podcast together, but it didn't end up happening because she ended up starting a business. And she started running out of time, which is part of the reason why we broke up. But we had thought about starting a book club podcast where we talk about actual problems in our lives and maybe how the books could be applied to them. And so there's brainstorming notes on that. I taught her how to make and do sigil magic, and then she helped me sort of set my goal for the sigil that I crafted. She did one and I did one. And she kind of, as we did this, she kind of interrogated me about what I wanted out of life and wrote it down. And this actually I think would be maybe valuable. These are her thoughts about me based off what I said about me, of what I want in life. Opportunity with coworkers who share values, are passionate, intelligent, and care about what they do. Creativity, fun, playful, no end point of creativity. Have goals manifested, meaning I get to like do creative projects and actually accomplish things and like get to see my ideas in real life, like actually happen, right? Concrete, like real things, like a synthesis between creativity and practicality. Chaos, intensity. Don't want to relax and do nothing. Decision making, excitement, full of energy, consistently. Bonds and connections with the people that I work with. It says likes being a hero, and then crossed out. She's making fun of me because I both want to help people but hate it when people kind of over-identify with like, oh, I help people, right? They kind of like dramatize themselves, especially like white dudes and white women actually too. Like I find my least favorite thing in the world is when white people do like tell their story about how they became a good white person, just shit like that. And so I was kind of ranting about that probably at some point, and so she made that joke, because I will call them heroes, as in like scare quotes. Another great date night idea that I had was we went to the grocery store and bought this was around Christmas time, bought like 10 greeting cards and Christmas cards and sent them out to like CEOs and politicians and shit like that. So these are some notes, like they were like jokes, like if you don't have a clothing company, we sent him a note that made it look like he had a mistress, stuff like that. Did a tarot reading. These are notes from we were really good creative partners, as you can probably guess, and we also worked together. And so these are notes of a work project that we kind of got together and did. Like lots of brainstorming and planning out specifics. And at one point we kind of went off on a tangent and made a drinking game called Checkmate, where if your piece got taken, you had to take a shot. Like each piece would be a shot, and for example, the bishops were wine, right? The king was a double shot of crown. I taught her how to make a playlist based off of storytelling structures. It was called Neurosis Minefield, and it was all about how people are crazy and come together anyway. Most important song in there is Incapable of Regret by Rasputina. Look that up. One of my favorite songs of all time. And then finally, she read a book about psychology, the temperament theory, and we kind of compared notes on that, notes and ideas on that, and that was really fun and fascinating. Also, I think we were high. Decent amount of this is probably, I've done more drugs with her than I've done in my life. Anyway, that's my third most prized possession, because my time with her was probably the best time of my life. And having like these notes and like seeing like our thoughts on the page from those moments is special to me. So 3 blonde women, all key to who I am. And with those, I'd like to hear your thoughts on my text.